Walt Disney's seminal classic Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs is now available to buy on 4K from Disney. In this video I'll compare the stunning new 4K remaster to the previous Blu-ray releases, but first, a brief unboxing. Snow White 4K arrives in an absolutely spectacular slipcover. The movie, much like Cinderella before it, comes under Disney's generic Ultimate Collector's Edition banner as part of the Disney 100 range. The slip features an almost waxy matte finish, bypassing Disney's usual reliance on standard gloss slips. It's a very simple and elegant touch that makes the release feel even more special. Shimmering metallic elements are sprinkled across the slip in star shapes, giving an even classier feel all over. There's some embossing of text and elements on here as well. The spine is very simplistic with a white backing and an icon of snow, the same used on the original Diamond release. The icon here, however, trades the usual square for a rectangular image. The metallic effects follow across the back of the slip, which offers a really beautiful template with a mix of stock vectors and stills from the film. As always, all the details are listed on here too. Of course, the Amaray case showcases the same artwork and holds the movie on 2 discs, a 4K and a Blu-ray. There's also a digital code bundled up in here as well for those who'd like a digital copy. If you'd like to pick the movie up, I've left Amazon affiliate links down below in the comments and the description. Snow White is one of my absolute favourite Disney animations of all time. It is a beautiful film with a simple yet touching story and characters with warm hearts and distinctive personalities. It's a movie that made audiences laugh and cry in 1937, and it's one that still makes audiences laugh and cry today. However, it's not just what Snow White represents to the history of animation and cinema that makes me love it so much, but the way that it acts so symbolic of the struggle we all face to make something of ourselves and strive bigger and better every day. The story of Walt Disney's personal tenacity in making the film, the real-life David and Goliath story of a man defying all odds and pressures placed upon him by everyone but a scarce few who believed, is such a great source of inspiration, and one of the reasons I admire Walt and the film as much as I do. Snow White has been long held as one of Disney's nicest Blu-ray transfers. However, looking back on the original disc from 2009, it's quite evident how primitive it actually is. I mean, it was 15 years ago after all. The Diamond Edition presentation of the film offers a somewhat flat appearance, with muted colours and a reasonable amount of DNR, or digital noise removal, applied to the image. Sure, not as heavy-handed as other Disney Blu-rays, Cinderella being a great example, but enough to remove most filmic qualities from the transfer. Now in 2023, Snow White arrives in a brand new remaster. According to Disney, the result of the combined efforts of the Walt Disney Studios restoration and preservation team, working closely with key artists from Walt Disney Animation Studios. This is of course the same team that recently restored Cinderella and all of those classic Disney cartoons that have been rolling out on Blu-ray and Disney Plus recently. Snow White features a brand new 4K scan of the original film negatives. Thanks to the new scan, Snow White is sharper than ever before. Character line work is crisp, brush strokes are more evident right across the board, and watercolor backgrounds have real texture. It's like looking directly at the original art. A very healthy and organic grain field also makes the movie look incredibly cinematic, almost as if watching the film directly from a film print. Grain was barely evident in the 2009 transfer when I look back at it, which points to an application of DNR, which also affected the crispness and the fine detailing of the artwork. Utilizing the original exposure color records, the restoration and preservation team have been able to apply correct color timing too. In some instances, this means that colors have been altered quite drastically. In others, they are more subtle. They are, however, in all instances, more authentic to the original source. Colors are, on the most part, brighter, punchier, and more vibrant, making the 2009 restoration look pale, washed out, and even quite aged in some cases. Earlier scenes had a browny green tint on them, which gave the transfer a comparatively murky look. The new restoration also allows the film more depth, with beautiful black levels that truly add a great contrast to the image. Much like with Cinderella, another bonus is the film returns to its original aspect ratio of 1.37 to 1 from its slightly cropped and skewed 1.35 to 1 ratio on the previous discs. It's not a hugely noticeable change, but it is a nice touch from the truly passionate restoration and preservation team. It's really great to see Disney finally giving these tasks to people who truly know what they're doing. As a result of all of the above, Snow White looks exactly how it should, perhaps for the first time since its original theatrical exhibition in 1937. It's without hyperbole that I say Snow White could provide one of the greatest examples of a Blu-ray to 4K upgrade that we are to see yet, and is in serious contention for Restoration of the Year. This is something I never thought we'd get or even need, but boy am I glad to be wrong. Bring on Fantasia and Sleeping Beauty. Also worth noting, again like Cinderella, the bundled Blu-ray includes the new remaster of the movie, something Disney hasn't bothered to do too often in the past. As for special features, Disney has expectedly not offered up any new material here at all, instead delivering the exact same serving of supplements that could be found on the previous Signature Edition Blu-ray. The menu is also exactly the same, meaning Disney have pretty much just ported across the old release, but swapped the old film master for the new one. The supplements here, however, are incredibly substantial, beginning with a 30+ minute making-of documentary, which is an extended version of a feature found on the earliest Diamond Edition Blu-ray, and a trimmed-down non-interactive 30-minute version of the Diamond Edition's Hyperion Studio Tour, which was a hallmark Disney documentary, the best ever produced for a Disney Blu-ray in my opinion. There's also a shorter 11-minute behind-the-scenes featurette produced originally for the Diamond Edition. There's a 4.5-minute signature feature, in Walt's words, featuring archival audio of Walt discussing the legacy of Snow White, and a couple of Disney Animation Research Library featurettes hosted by Disney Animation legend Don Hahn. A number of smaller featurettes focusing on the legacy of the film are here too, including iconography, designing Disney's first princess, and a piece on the voice talent. There's also a number of deleted and alternate scenes from the film, including the infamously cut 4-minute soup eating sequence. It's rounded out by a couple of fluffy featurettes for the kids, including a short trivia piece and a hip-hop retelling of the movie in 70 seconds. Of course, it is capped off by a classic audio commentary with Roy E. Disney, historian John Canemaker, and archival recordings by Walt Disney. Surprisingly, there's very few omissions from the Diamond Blu-ray or the Platinum DVD editions here, as the Signature Edition did an abnormally great job at compiling most of the comprehensive material in the first place. A few short featurettes don't make the cut again, including a look at a cancelled Snow White sequel. In my opinion, not huge losses overall. At the end of the day, Disney's 4K release of Snow White is easily the most definitive release of the movie we are likely to ever get on home media. The new remaster is truly a revelation, bringing the movie back to its original glory in ways I never expected or thought possible. This is arguably the most comprehensive release of the movie. Any small omissions are well and truly made up for by this superb restoration effort. Snow White is a must-buy for all Disney or animation fans on 4K, and don't forget, if you want to pick up a copy for yourself, I've left Amazon affiliate links down below. At that, I want to know your thoughts on Snow White, and if you're excited to get your hands on the 4K restoration. If you already have, what are your thoughts on the new remaster? As always, join the conversation in the comments below.